soje zono no janjo bando dane yazo Dhargye chujurun jibe sonam jen dola beje zangen dola yo chedan zoye jona no janjo Dhargye chujurun jibe sonam jen dola beje zangen dola yo chedan zoye jona no janjo bando dane yazo Dhargye chujurun jibe sonam jen dola beje zangen dola yo Let me remind every one of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate the bodhicitta motivation or the altruistic motivation seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived bodhicitta motivation, we should all participate in this discourse on mind training like the rays of the sun. I'll read a couple of pages from this mind training like the rays of the sun text from page 100 to give you the blessing of lineage oral transmission followed by explication.
Dharma tamnan je dingi la jewe do no do je ni jewe thara shao tharwa shawa shewa ne tu gundu ngare shebe pemba me dongwa ra pemba ring dong parma me go ne me zuma da shiba gosu je jeba go gulun da jeba la wa da ne me sun yo ma da yi rang me su那这一边对到我小，对到我小，我以前没关系吧呢，让人现我偏中西些为语句工作我的东西嘛，上面那边没啥的天气正在的这个生活这边的没事没事，我过了没事，咱们些个。因果所见，他们就是老公嘛，那么他们没事，他在这面，那么也想个过不是没，个把没容啊所见，他们这当因为些路有的没些为些吧呢，我们搞一种这个准备，我们搞几个种这个准备，所以都在这个当不住。当不我你就是些年，或者就把没有的关注出人不学运在这爸爸些，什么觉得啦，一直常被过那中国的。我这里接不着我都是接不着爸接不啦，去了趟路干嘛就这就接不那，头中人不是也是某些送包大肉，他这的群众的这里看啥看这这的话，拉不着的那嘞。그래서 철루시 제가 철제고지 다 되는데 뭐 철루고는 뭐시 인사들이다 철루지 다니 돈제 튜버스 철루게서 또번에서 골로메서 쉐바네 십제 되면 나도지 인제발라 인제 공부를 하고 발래 최 도송로 좀 강사가 있으고 소중시 통보통에 제每年就过呢，应届有的写完呢，应届考录考，新届有都做不上去，没到八度，六个吧嘞，这里可以碰着，前我的菜地地位，英国说，同的年完呢，6把考录，新届他觉得上届一考没到，我把也是。你是什么国嘞？让你也行，朝鲜吧老的工作机过程，其他的别的一些的对过节，年人之外呢也是活络过，上届上升级，说是估计给咱来人他吧呢，也让些的给咱忙的不要嘞，没多把个些拉。没了，就是凶险呐，就是一种习惯呢，一让可乐过，图什么过不了，准备在各节节，都给中西用的，各些节那把凶些呢，都给谈论的，那把西门人不学吧过不学吧嘞，瞧吧嘞，确实那么多。我那两队认真研究所里熊孩子，6年那做学不学完就学不可能过，但是他我这可乐中下去，能给别人的写了是吧？可是可乐中下去，可是什么东东拿这个是中写我是吧？对的，现在他呢，同志他们走路过去可乐没啥，什么东东拿吧？第前一周开始些呢。甚至对面那做的应届考过吧来些，我那现在应届他知道甚至他就公过的，现在甚至对面考的现在在你下公过了，我爹妈公写是我了，去推送了这边，考上可以给是， 근데 세고 중세 보면 통했지. 민이 이거네 인지 유지 시원네 인지 홀로 거지. 어디 다 심지 그게 네것이 시자사드 그 시선의 녀저 인송저 소리 삽시버 주들이야 닝몽제제네. 이제 투순 거좀 존주시네. 근데 뒤가 때지 소소 세원님이 강인 송요 중나. 뭐 퀄리티다 닝제시야 인지 홀로래서. 그 타입에도 갈리자데 인지시고 이렇게 하고 다 마저 자기 때문에 인지를 주고 어디 인지 무엇을 먹고 무지지 무엇을 치도 세지.
Geshe read from page 100 to 102 to give us the blessing of Lung, lineage oral transmission. And we are back to page 100. The big caption reads, explanation of what appears in the text as maxims. In italics, there is a statement which reads, don't apply a wrong understanding. In Tibetan, kolomita. And so often we talk about 6 types of wrong understandings or misdirected practices, kolo true. And as Geshe explained, that in general, we should cultivate compassion for all sentient beings, who are going through, suffering and difficulties, and we wish them to be free of their suffering and difficulties. In particular, sentient beings who are in much more difficult situations and much more pain and suffering, we should really have, if you will, intensified compassion for these sentient beings. So that is the proper understanding of what compassion is and compassion practice. So instead of doing that, now we see that there are those who are sincerely engaged in the study, contemplation, and meditation. And of course, by dedicating themselves to this study and practice, they may be living a very simple life and looks like they don't have much, looks like they are in a difficult situation. And if we seeing their external kind of a poor condition, if we feel compassion for them, that is what we call, wrong understanding of the compassion and wrong application of the compassion. Nyingchi kolok in Tibetan, misdirected compassion, I would say. The reason is that, these individuals have decided to dedicate themselves into study, contemplation, and meditation, Thubten Gongsum, to be able to attain liberation and enlightenment. Okay, so they are really, engaged in virtues leading to liberation and enlightenment, and there's no really need on this ground or the basis feel compassion for them, right? On the other hand, we find, sentient beings engaged in a lot of negativities, negative karmic actions, and these negative actions can really precipitate their rebirth in unfortunate states of rebirth. And that is a very, that deserves our compassion in a very difficult situation. So instead of feeling compassion for them and extending compassion to them, those who are engaged in virtuous practices, living a very poor kind of a simple life, if we feel compassion for them, that is a misdirected compassion, wrong understanding, wrong application of, compassion. No. So I hope you get the point we're trying to make, what is meant by wrong understanding of compassion and wrong application of compassion. The easiest word is misdirected compassion, Nyingji. We can find that there are people from outside looks like they have nothing but success in their life. They are rich, they're living a very kind of luxurious life, but in the process of this, they have been engaged in so many negativities and accumulating a lot of bad karmas, and they really deserve our compassion, because what they have done is, they, for the sake of some temporary benefit and short-term goal, so they have really accumulated a lot of negativities. So if when they die, they will have to pay for their karma. But on the other hand, there are individuals, who on the outside live very simple life, kind of poor life. They don't have much, looks like they're in a difficult situation, but they're completely dedicated into study, contemplation, meditation, and virtues. And so they don't really need our compassion in a sense, because they already know what they wanted. They made the right choice, and they're on the way to liberation and enlightenment. So if we feel compassion for them, that is a wrong compassion, wrong application of compassion, misdirected. Whereas we don't feel compassion for those who need compassion, who are creating a lot of negativities, even though they have a lot of mundane success in this life. So this is the distinction between what is the right compassion, right application of compassion, what's the wrong understanding of compassion, and wrong application of compassion.
Cheba de tse de diwe nyengu so don di nyawa ne dumba kholo kos o tiri da kharsa chidang de choshi gi chi jile da be shen neba meba da chu rab tipo shebo ne shen pe do shego ti ma ji be ne chaji de khar da no chu jor ke ne kulung sigirwa da khadu ke ne chaji de sigmare chaji da chaji se ba ne chaji kharte sine tai do zo za ge ta wi ti ta kwaran be ga shawara no ko ti ma be she en se ni nye go nya da de to ni nya she en chaji du ti ding so na ti si wa da dumba ko dumba so no so kharle me ba ye to ni nya ra sigirwa no shi da ti ko ta da ko da shin ro no say there because no doesn't that told yet it is just that the sayata to yamarwa just shy korsa ho go no
so another wrong understanding and application pertains to dunba, translated as motivation or intention, okay? Or it could be aspiration as well. And as Geshe explained, that once we have decided to engage in Dharma and the Dharma path, our intention and motivation and aspiration is, to, how should I say, benefit others and, follow the path leading to our spiritual destinations, be it liberation or enlightenment. In the case of Mahayana practice and Bodhisattvas, Bodhisattvas' intention is altruism, bodhicitta, is seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. And their plan is, how can I implement this intention and then so that I can realize enlightenment for the sake of all beings. So that is Bodhisattva design and plan, okay? And so instead of having that kind of a plan, if we find ourselves seeking nothing but all fulfillment of mundane expectations, right? To be rich and famous and bold and brave and all of that, so then that is the wrong intention and wrong understanding of the intention from spirituality point of view, and wrong application of the intention, because spirituality is meant to transcend mundane affairs of things, the mundaneness, isn't it? To seek liberation, enlightenment. But instead of doing that, if we get ourselves so much invested in finding the wealth, the fame, the reputation, and the title, and the yagadi, all of that, so that is the wrong understanding of intention and aspiration.
Pedo ibi keza sheni. It is Sanje Kuzun to the Pusha, what they Kujo Zeta, any Gendul, any Pua Domeja, so what he did, he needs to train. So the Sanje Kenda, so the Gojo Zulia, Pedo Keza Sheni, the Gel Sansun condition, she's on the Lagling Colores. Kunjo go to what the Lishera Zapsibo.
No.
Tiga Gedi shade do us, shade do us, and then Tideji. She do a shash of my Katuka to question my patient and say the Katu Tamazera, till shade do us. No, today chat about Chenny in sensation that for Jibes or Dawson. No, years ago, Lagling Colores or Dagaji.
No, sir. The another wrong understanding and application pertains to what we call Yersen means here translated again as intention, or it is a sort of I think maybe the previous one is intention. This could be translated as more like aspiration. As Geshe explained, that from spirituality point of view, what we want to do is we would like to help sentient beings, to be connected with the three jewels, and so that they will be able to go for refuge in them and follow the three jewels way. And so instead of that, we how should I say, whatever has been dedicated as offerings to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, particularly in Sangha. And if we take anything from that offering or the dedication for our own use, or to benefit, one's own like dear and near ones, so that would be the wrong understanding and application of what we call resources. Perhaps that's better, and so that's considered as very detrimental. Karma, especially the things which are meant for the Sangha, if we misuse it, misdirect the resource for our own benefit or for the benefit of our dear and near ones, and then that would be a wrong application of that kind of a resource. And also, Geshe explained that sometimes, there are certain funds, if you will, which meant for all the Sangha in general. So as if there is going to be a Sangha funding, So instead of kind of putting that in that funding, if you kind of distribute among Sanghas individually, and from that certain portion is taken for one's own sake or for the sake of one's friends and near ones, so that would be, again, wrong application, wrong understanding, wrong practice. No.
The Sanjay Chansi gets a link of the Iranian gets among the Pewale. Made the Medaba Gashi last Miliba Jungsi Shungsen, just Shiva, Kolo was still a dog. Conje Jedar Genus, that Sanjay Chansu Suina. Conse Kazashi Sui the order of the Kaja to the Tilly, just a year ago, I remember the Tilly in Petado, that takes a dozen Shia Marwa. Till ya just so give mix a maza, just she will give out the end. But Pino Shambo use that Karsa, Tizi or that. Kansa in it, so just Iran she get the 10 toy, and it gets a saget, Iran she gets a mount to receive the one. That gets that Yamna the Gazi to that gets a strong till a lava to you, because it's just Iran she gets a magic. The tree she did just year on my share. And the cause I did it, Jida call it Jung says in the call Mega Shen. In the call it, the Kazan retail Shungas on the tin gas on the Iran share, just the Iran color.
The next wrong understanding, application, or practice pertains to Chis Yirang, admiration or rejoicing. So in general, we should admire and rejoice in the positive actions and the virtues of one and all, including enlightened beings, bodhisattvas, the holy beings, and the ordinary beings, and whoever has been creating virtue, that we should rejoice in them. That is the right understanding of rejoicing and right application of rejoicing. So instead of doing that, if we find that somebody overall has been doing a lot of good things, but there could be sort of a glitch in the system. The person has certain weakness or fault. Now we kind of get stuck with that, one limitation or the weakness, and then we, I should say, instead of rejoicing in his or her virtues, we kind of rejoice like, it's good that, who really, that he has got some difficulty problem, that's wonderful, right? Kind of you rejoice in the misfortunes of others, and that kind of rejoicing in others' misfortune is a wrong understanding of rejoicing, wrong application of rejoicing. Because anybody who's doing anything positive and good, right, they really deserve our rejoicing. By rejoicing in their virtues, we are able to earn certain portion of their merit for ourselves, depending upon, like, maybe there are someone, who have much more merit than we are doing it, or who are equal to merit, with ourselves, or who have little less merit than us, regardless of their, merit assessment situations. If we rejoice in them, so we could earn a certain portion of their merit. So there's no reason to be jealous of others, practice and virtues, and we should not feel threatened by or feel hostility towards people who are doing good things, And so in other words, rejoicing in others' misfortune is a wrong rejoicing. 이란 걸로,
투소고 말로 쯤에서 가지 능의 정식 중하다. 가시게 내가 중식시나 능의 당내다. 내가 시면 수고고 뭐 샤월에 최제 남도 군을랑데. 최제 남도 군을랑데스. 랑베스 던딘 연주소리 쇼에스. 능의 나서 세바시오는 세바콜로고 세바테다 투소고바 비게까지 주니까 얘네 얘네나 투소고바 가지 좀 가지 좀 가지 주는 뒤야 수요고야 시고로 어디시 내가 나중에는 현다 내가 시주 거리는 내가 간거 수요고야 등에 그래서 등에 달래 수요다 내가 시면 수요바 뒤에 공부로 왔어 얘네들 막음에 시려와 최근 남도 군한테 다 배지대 최근 세대기 배게 남도 군은 전든 인용 애들 샤와디 배게 가서 나글레 주었다리는 될 가르치 거서 되래도 수박으로 다 전든 인용 시디잖아 애들이 더다되게 레라부터 조마르바 디 더달 작주지 애들 배차바시 벨 모데스 나도신 셔고로 tilda be 강에 시작 디 강에 좀 가서 수업시 이 추시와 때 추다 얘기 되바시를 수업 중국 고무도시 이 지디 추기 디 더달이야 이 가지 깔리셔 보이는 수업 공도에 수업 고로래죠.
And another wrong understanding and wrong application of practice pertains to patience or tolerance, soba, endurance. So the right understanding and application of patience is, when we engage in study, contemplation, and meditation, we can run into, challenges and difficulties, and we tolerate them, we bear them, happily, because there's a greater purpose by doing that, and that's the right understanding and application of patience, especially if somebody is giving us a hard time, right? We know that there is the, patience of enduring others' harm on us. There's the patience of not retaliating against those who harm us. So these are the right understanding of patience, right application practice. So instead of doing that kind of a patience practice, now if we practice tolerance and patience in pursuit of 8 worldly concerns, to be able to take care of one's dear and near ones, and then we go through all kinds of headaches and difficulties, right? We have to lie, sometimes we have to cheat, we have to deceive, we have to manipulate, and all kinds of stuff. We know that it's not easy to take care of the needs, expectation of the loved ones. There's no end to that. But then we put up with that. And then in terms of defeating our competitors or the enemies, the people we don't like, we go through a lot of difficulties and challenges, and we, bear it, we tolerate it, So that kind of tolerance, forbearance, is a wrong understanding of tolerance and forbearance and wrong application of the practice. Yes. And another wrong understanding and application of practice refers to, metaphorically speaking, getting a taste, and which is like, as a Dharma practitioners and enthusiasts, our really wish and intent should be to engage in the study and practice Dharma, to be able to get the real taste of the Dharma, right? Tasting Dharma as it is, or the flavor of the Dharma, to get it, So that's the right way to go. But instead of doing that, if we kind of seek and we are in pursuit of mundane pleasures and try to get the flavor and the taste of mundane, joy and pleasures, so that is the wrong understanding and wrong application of what's meant by, testing a flavor or a flavor here. And as Geshe explained, in the context of this mind training or lojong practice, right? And what we are taught is that we want to train our mind to be able to equalize self with others and exchange self for others. So through this kind of mental training and practice, that we would like to get the real taste of the Dharma, the flavor of the Dharma, right? So that's the right understanding and the right application of tasting or getting a flavor. But instead of doing that, we kind of misdirected all our efforts, to take care of the mundane, in the mundane sense, take care of the dear and near ones, and to control and defeat and the enemies and the people we don't like, and kind of chase the 8 worldly concerns and try to find the pleasures of the sensual pleasures, and get a taste of that. So that is a wrong understanding, wrong application, wrong pursuit of the flavor, let's say, wrong pursuit of the taste. This was a two said so riches it is on the church. Church again and the church shall say the dog to go. That is somebody the mother. So the said the dog shall she was to she had she do. No. Oh, did that
지겨 말이지. 그래서는 롭조사야디 유튜브 무튜는 엔치오리스. 상계 타주 상계도 어디 무튜니 깨와 참에서 소사디르지 마도 대저 고문남 상계 되려 말아. 저도 무튜니 시야디 계셔버리스 티이서리.
We're on top of page 101. In italics, there is a statement which reads, "Don't be sporadic." What does that mean? As Geshe explained, that we should wholeheartedly engage in the lojong or the mind training practice, cultivating altruism by way of equalizing and exchanging self for others, and we should do that continuously, not sporadically or periodically or occasionally. Okay, so instead of that, if we kind of do this kind of practice periodically, as if like a fair weather practitioner, it's like, today I feel like doing some meditation practice, okay, I'll do it. Well, tomorrow I don't like it, I don't do it. So if we kind of this kind of a sporadic, periodical kind of a practice, we are not going to be able to get anywhere. Of course, we are doing some virtue by doing this on practice, but the virtue is going to be not very powerful. It's just like we are physically engaged in something positive, virtuous action. We are verbally chanting mantras, which is virtue. We are physically sitting in a practice kind of a session, but our mind is not there wholeheartedly, 100%. So therefore, our physical and verbal actions are going to be less powerful, so it is important that we continuously and wholeheartedly engage in the lojong practice. So that's the advice. As Geshe was chuckling over this, that as Dharma practitioners, right, once we said, this is our choice, that I want to follow Dharma, then our main job, so to speak, task is Dharma. Number one is Dharma. Of course, we need to eat. We have to pay the bill. Geshe didn't say the bill, but so that should be secondary, right? But instead of that, and we make this life, the mundane affairs, number one, and then the Dharma, number two, well, then we kind of flipped it, isn't it? We're not doing it in proper way. So if Dharma is what is important, and we said that's what we want to engage in, then it should be priority, top priority, number one, and then do the other things as secondary, taking care of oneself, food, clothing, shelter, whatever, all of those things. And as we can see, that all the Buddhas, no Buddha easily become a Buddha, right? They would accumulate merit and wisdom for 3 great countless eons to be able to become enlightened being. So there is no easy way out, as we engage in the Dharma. There's a lot of challenges we have to put up with, and we have to maintain the continuity and the full sincerity and wholeheartedness.
도저히 장시반에서 나이티 예전에 참좀 봐서 네마탄지 뒤에 저 돈을 되다 도저히 수야 장시도 다들 공부도 해야 되게 저 롭던데 근데 랭가베 로고요서 매베서로 때마고서로 어디에 시켜 버리스. 제 참좀 매와서는 데려와다 왜 타직도 근데 왜 처시해야 돼 타직도 디가야 뭉야디 타직으로 참좀 매와서는 가서다 왜 쇼코 참좀 매도서야지 태동자는 요시야 돼 참좀 매와서 이러와. 어디 저거 다산디 양총을 좀 잡으면 저서 양 숙소 좀 신갔다고 그랬어요. 야 전일세서 공부면 저 상주하시 때마에서 지면도 말아. 진짜 너무 강가 있는데 자주서 그 쉬어야 될 비거리시.
We are on page 101. As you can see, it is stated there, practice unflinchingly, meaning that when we engage in the lojong or mind training practice, we should do with 100%, with no doubt whatsoever, right? So that's what it is. So our practice should not be based upon moods. Today I feel like, then I don't feel like, okay, now I want to do it. It should not be guided by the moods, It is like we should, without any doubt, just engage in the lojong practice So as if all our state of being, all our intentions are integrated into one, and that is nothing but to single-pointedly and dedicatedly engage in the practice of Lochong. Otherwise, it's just like that we know, yes, practice is important, and then we feel like, okay, maybe on the side I should do a business. Maybe I should do the farming, right? So then we get kind of a, how should I say, segmented into many other things of doing. So that is like not unflinchingly, because there's something else going on, right? From Dharma point of view, you just 100% just get into Dharma.
Pemba ringdung sikidwa, that Pemba ringdung sit that thing is Sanji Mata Poditable. Young said needing, sir, young than Nima Tiring Sato. That Nima Tirins and you Mugo, she was some that she not there, young Sinda, you were a Java. Just saying, sir. Pama so you go and say, and then go and see what the ship goes of you, the Jeva, Lata, soon you want to do down. Dugja de Shedona, in the Hakuba Shinipa, Shevadil, Sheva, Dugja Sheva Hakua she. And the Ozi showed the Ozi the Judy she. But today you go in the beginning to do Kito, you go to his suicide. 10,000 to do you are.
Di nga zi chabe na la ya tok zhe ni ki she de de tok zhe ni ki tar wa cha so me ge tok zhe ni cham sha la yo mar wa ge tok ba de zhe ba che de cham sha la yo mar wa ge
tok zhe ni se de tok ba de zhe ba se ya de zhe
ma di ha ko se la ko de ge di ha ko ma di injin na jur se ro wa ge injin na jur de tok ba de zhe ba yo wa ge tok zhe ni ro tok zhe ni ma che cham sha sti de wa ge di injin ma ro wa dang nga zhe de gen dan de song da de tok zhe ni ki sing ye kwa da zhe de che zhe yo de ro wa tar wa cha di so me ge
都是你他话下是的，都是你这把结果是我了。
结果是个了，都是你上下那个嘛了。
这把结果的是。这结果写的这把写的那养过这都呢，这个农主伯伯写的，这农主写农主哈个水用过的，农主哈过呀的话。
是。
熬的这个呢，就是要写过的是。我今天这个过年的别，大家是马的写的，今天这个别你们都头写过的是我的。
是。Almost in the middle of page 101, in the italics, there is a statement which reads, released investigation analysis. I think that's somewhere I've got a wrong translation, I thought. The way I listened very carefully to Geshe and I double-checked it, it's not like stop investigation analysis. That's how it sounded like here, right? Just give up. That's not what it is. As a matter of fact, we have to use investigation and analysis. The Tibetan word for tokpa is the investigation. Cheba is more finer, that's analysis, we translate it. Okay? And so the explanation Geshe has given is that, as practitioners, we should apply mindfulness and introspection and investigate and analyze how we are doing, isn't it? And what is our motivation and how we are doing our actual practice or action. And so if we find that we are doing it properly and right, then we have reason to rejoice in our practice. But if we find out through investigation analysis that we are not doing it properly, we're doing it wrong, then we should stop that wrong practice. So it is not that investigation and analysis should be given up or stopped. That's what it sounded like here. But it means we should use investigative mind, analytical mind to find out how we are doing so that we can stay the course, or we can correct ourselves. So that's the meaning. And as Geshe explained, that we may have to use many different multiple ways of thinking. Sometimes we can say that, okay, my goal is until I reach complete enlightened state. Okay? So that is really what we call our final goal and a long-term goal, so to speak, right? However long it takes, until that time, I will do my best to engage in positive actions or study and practice of Dharma. Sometimes we have to say, you know what, that's too long until I get enlightened, right? But we say, you know what, at least this week, or this particular day, from the dusk to the dawn, I'm going to do my best to engage in nothing but virtue and properly, right? So in that way, we become more mindful of our practice, so we can do proper investigation and analysis of our motivation, action, and dedication. Okay.
Because so ya share the thousand going to Dalia Pedo to share na Tavaja in the bay catching edge share Basia to Mosato. Yadnam uses here to the share of Tavaja Shiajaro, the use some share over it. What did they use job was so to can Fendor Pedo Masiva was in Mosata, so didn't she job is. What the Yaboyo Marisiumja. Yakbo Yuna Sanjing and did most of the tongue was Sanjing did most of the tongue to us. Tingy using John Deji, some rebel Muslim Shires to do. She's about Mosato to play yet check share in Basia to you share the Yaboyina, Sanjing Sungur of the day. Sanjing did Mosatonga Mendo.
We're still on page 101, and there is a statement in italics which reads, "Don't be boastful." The Tibetan word is yumite. As Geshe explained, that if we have been kind to others, we have been helpful to them, and we did anything beneficial to others, we should not, give this air to others as if I have done favor to you, And some people have the habit of nagging others, like, you remember? I helped you this time, that time, the other time, remember, I'm the only one who did it for you, kind of thing. So it's kind of nag someone, and that's not the right way to do it. If you have done anything, kindness and good to others, don't remind them that I have been yagade, I have been doing this, and that kind of spoils the whole thing, by the way. And and if there's something really proper to do, then Shakyamuni Buddha would have done it a long time ago, right? Buddha did so much for us. Has Buddha ever nagged at us, said, you know what, hey, I did everything for you. I brought you on the right path, I taught you, Buddha never said those things, right? And if something proper way to do, Buddha would have done it himself, and he would have taught us to do it, to be boastful, to remind and nag at others like that we have been nice and kind to them all the time. But Buddha didn't. So don't do it.
This is Kolom Medum Sibane, Yangur Soji, Tommy Junsila, Kolom Damba Mizeti, Teda Mena Shang Go Misha Biron Soji, Tamzi Dongi Sheros. The with a Karsa, Kolom Medum Siadi, Yangur Soji, Tommy Junsila, that memo which was never taken with Shuna. And the picture Ganga Chiwachi, Kaki Yaga, Kaki Doctor, Yusigro. But today, don't that any low motivation, you Marisota. Kazao, Susa Kazao, the Yan, they might go, not the chong to call the Yaga sort of she did the whole what is it? Right. But today, don't Tadaliaji come to Yaso to the Shao, no, so. She didn't come to the Yeru. No, so the Karazai that they ran, Daran Yaga major. Could they wish you the other than to show you there, what they do in your machine, the same Marangi Yomars, what is it?
Next, don't be short-tempered. That's how it's translated here. And kolong is the Tibetan word. Probably, I think it's better translated, don't show attitude, And as Geshe explained, that, when others make offerings to us, or, give us gifts, sometimes we find that all gifts are not of equal size and value and, everything else. There is going to be some difference. So don't make that an issue like, how come? I got the smaller one, and I got the less expensive one, and I got that, wrong colored one. Geshe didn't say the wrong colored part, but, and we kind of show that attitude. Instead of appreciating the other's gift, we kind of make it now issue like, well, I'm not happy with this, the gift you gave me. why everybody gets really that kind of gift and I got this different one, And so that kind of attitude can become a source of conflict. So when we are entangled in conflict, then we might say the darnest thing to each other and we're going to transgress our commitments, So therefore, just be appreciative of any small, whatever gift anybody give us. Don't make that an issue and don't show attitude.
be mude tukun shuchimu yundaris parmasijin shumu yundaris tatang gone se ne zongo de no le chewa paba jiwala chola tanglun gaba gamoshum chiji chewa nam toru rimbar yermaji sheso motaro se timada the Zongzhi was Chuji Zongzhi said in Beria. Tongbo was a Sar Yejuahi Shen, Yejuahi citizen, Tombo Jigda, Karsa Shumata, because Kevin Nirasam is Zongzhi said, Digajemira.
No, sir.
Shen and poor job of Mumudes, poor job was that is, and Tayosa Marsam Shakin ko poor Roa.
No.
Two good Shushi you then show race. You should do the series. You must hear Humo Yundar Tat Yundar the tongue gone. So good this that the Humo Yundar said the Hugo to go here, the talk about the Daja said the Jangja Shah, who chase you were a country. Jangja, no. Something the Jesu, something to love to say, something for the John effect of what this is
no.
This is good. You did no do council. Tango did a mashi, choose you something loud of us.
No,
I should do choose you somebody. So this
no. At the bottom of page 101, you find it stated there in italics, don't make a short-lived attempt. As Geshe explained, that when we engage in the study and practice of Dharma, we should continuously do that. We should not be too enthusiastic in the beginning to rush into study and practice, and then we drop the ball, so to speak, right? As Tibetans, some great masters say that some becomes too enthusiastic in the beginning, as if they don't want to waste even any time to eat or drink, anything. And they just as soon as they enter into the study, they want to become a great learned one. There's so much rush and expectation, and then you get exhausted, and then you run out of the fuel, and then you're like, okay, that's not working. So you don't want that kind of short-lived effort and enthusiasm. We should really continue enthusiasm just like the flow of the river, isn't it? Or just like the straight string of the bow. That bow string, it always is in the same condition. It's not loose at some time. Then how can you use the bow, right? And it's not overstretched. So like that, our enthusiastic perseverance, or enthusiastic effort, must be continuously flow like the flow of the river, so that is, and that's the proper way to apply enthusiasm.
the world of Java, this is a page because it Hedalpa Karsa. Paint of Jesus in any department of the Lamsa, you are the Russian Silver. Lamsa, you are the Russian. Did that go much as on that Gagachi or Jindans, Fatish, I just feel what you were. What is it? That did Jalavati layers of Majuna and the chop because the country game was sharing the Kakai Shinim to say, Shalava.
No.
Oh, did that was a love job was Karsa, the Kadimua and Dokjava, the Boncha said, or that cause you get Shitaji share the Kakai Shinim to see us or the Bill share sort of the same somewhere did she go, Maris? Or teaser.
Something I left from the previous explanation is, what Geshe explained about how we need to maintain the continuity of enthusiastic effort like the flow of the river in our study and practice Dharma is the way to go. And it has been substantiated by a quote from Praising the Praiseworthy, where it talks about how, we should not be overstressed in our effort. We shouldn't be too relaxed in our effort, but we should maintain the continuity of our enthusiasm and effort in our study and practice. Now we are on page 102, and in italics it is stated, don't expect gratitude. As Geshe explained, the Tibetan word worship, which could also mean that when we have helped others or try to be helpful and do anything, don't expect gratitude from others or don't expect something in return. Yeah, and sometimes people say that, oh my gosh, can you believe I have been helping him or her, this and that. They even don't say thank you. Can you believe that? And that's the problem here. See, expecting something, gratitude or something in return, even just few words, thank you very much. You saved my life, kind of thing. So don't expect that. And another thing Geshe explained is this could also include how sometimes we make a small gift expecting something bigger in return. And this we could apply to the example Geshe given is the monastic administrators, something, they have to be careful sometimes, how monastery, they are dependent on the benefactors, help and support. And so they're very kind, and sometimes they do make gifts to the benefactors, just to express the gratitude, which is fine. But instead of that, if there's some way in the mind, well, by giving this small gift, I'm expecting more benefit and funding here, right? That's not coming through. I wasted my gift here, kind of thing. If that kind of mindset, comes in, then that's a problem. It might fall into this a particular category. Of course, it's good to make a gift, express gratitude, that's fine. But giving something, and the hidden agenda is, I want more. And I'm waiting enough, long enough, nothing is coming out. Well, I wasted my funding here, kind of thing. So that is the problem, So got to be careful with that.
But that loves you, did that soon get that the check out, Koran, the Yamsta, anyway, took you double to be get the radio.
No.
That near share, we thought to get the lot of Chibu, did she joy in the sales, that Lord was you, Mongo Yorama. The Shina come, yours yet, he said.
No, so.
So the Simba Shabos, the check out did the 2 years share is a Lego trunk, the double you trove the Shen took Rambe, Song Shoman said. That big Dixus that Mr. Torashi must two Rambi the money. Rog Muba Moy, Dungan, Tangi, Chase, and Tenzin Dorjee said Nam-kha Shu, Tani Shiam, you to hear some so. Said that Tenzin the Ranzi the Nam-kha, the Shuni, Nyams Lane, any dribbles bed, Dhargye Nyams said, yes, also. Tai and good young and this Shina and Javastan is.
Nice. So on page 102, in the concluding section, we have the words of great Kadamba Geshe Chekawa, right? As Geshe explained, that we have really discussed so many things here, about Lojong practice and Lojong commitment, Lojong advices, right? And then we might, give rise to this kind of thought. Oh my gosh, who can do this? This all seems like kind of beyond something, one's ability. Just to counteract that kind of thinking, that's what if we sincerely apply ourselves into Lojong, it is a doable. Who did it? Geshe Chekaba did it. And let's listen to what Geshe Chekaba says. So in his own words, I quote, "My manifold aspirations have given rise to humiliating criticism and suffering, but having received instructions for taming the misconception of self, even if I die, I have no regrets," unquote. As Geshe explained this, Geshe Chekaba tells us that he has given off many of these mundane aspirations, which basically, how should I say, become the sources for others, humiliation, criticism, and just getting through more pain and suffering. So what he has done is he has most sincerely followed the instructions or discourses on mind training Lojong, and he has trained his mind to counteract self-cherishing attitude by way of equalizing and exchanging self with others. He has counteracted the self-grasping attitude, right, by way of realizing the ultimate, reality. And now he said, I'm so satisfied with my mind training, and even if I die today, I have no regret. Let it be so,
in the Tonzo Simji Jolu Mashad, Ian Guzo Simji, Ian La Shetwa.
No.
The Guzo Simji Shet did love that the Tamzik the Kanga Shets are.
No.
That Dijol is that day he was Karsa, Tonzo Simji. The Yuzen the Karesa did that the Lojo Jidan, we call the Guzo Sim Jona, the Pidgey Cage Mari. And the Tonzo Simji in a Lojo Page or the Yelia. Don't you go the conversation?
No, so.
Told Namhka-pel says, Shimang must say, and same day, don't write the shot said, this is what she never do this. I didn't see what
No, so.
She thought that the picture dinner that came out of careers that told them you lost on that the Chevas chair,
No, so.
You should not get the gun up in that case. Should I have my dead the soon without the Ubra?
No, so.
No, this is the good she seen those, the Tishi. What did that today's Jul Shagway did that? They'll jabber to this monkey years, Uncle Shag.
No. At the end of page 102, it reads, "This concludes the explanation of the training in the conventional awakening mind or conventional bodhicitta. As I explained it before, that if we look in the 7-point mind training text, training one's mind in the ultimate awakened mind or the ultimate bodhicitta is presented first, followed by training our mind in conventional awakened mind or bodhicitta. That being said, in this mind training, like the rays of the sun commentary on the 7-point mind training, this order has been reversed. So first, training our mind in the conventional bodhicitta, awakening mind has been explained, right? What it is and how can we do that, and what are its commitments, what are its advices, and all of those things. And so next, what is explained is training our mind in the ultimate bodhicitta or the ultimate awakening mind. And the reason could be that it says that in terms of what is conventional bodhicitta or relative bodhicitta, and training our mind that pretty much all of the mind training texts, Lojong texts, they converge. They are more or less same. Maybe a little different here, there a little bit, but not much. But in terms of the ultimate mind bodhicitta training, they may have more differences in ways of presentation because in the Lochong fundamental text itself, there is not much really in-depth explanation about what the ultimate bodhicitta is. Sometimes we run into this kind of cryptic kind of statement, which basically says, don't think about the past, don't think about the future, just be in the present moment, kind of thing. Now, what does that mean? So Geshe said it really does not specify what is intrinsic reality or truly existent reality, Tendu, and all of that detailed explanation. And so because ultimate bodhicitta needs more explication, so I guess it is kept at the later, in the later section. Training in the ultimate bodhicitta or ultimate awakened mind is presented under three key points. So number one is who should be given this instruction or the teaching, the type of person to whom the instruction should be given, right? The number two is the time for giving the teaching. In other words, when should this teaching on ultimate bodhicitta should be given? Any time is a good time, so to speak, or there are some particular times. And so those are more like the preliminary discourses of the ultimate bodhicitta. And then the third one is the actual discourses or the instructions on cultivating the ultimate bodhicitta.
시부고 쩌나는 좀 죽나 아니 거 너는 레스 와. 그제서
So the next page, unnumbered one, which should be 103. The big caption reads, cultivating the ultimate awakening mind. And as we said, it's presented under three key points. Who should be given this discourse? When should be given this discourse? And what is this discourse all about? And so the first one, who is a receptacle, disciple or person for this kind of discourse on ultimate mind of enlightenment. As Geshe explained, someone who is capable of understanding, what is this ultimate awakened mind, who has the ability to understand this concept and this training, or at least who is not going to completely misunderstand this whole idea of what is ultimate bodhicitta. Yes, such a person is a receptacle for this kind of discourse. And as Geshe said, provided that we don't have the ability to reach other people's mind, so we really wouldn't know who is who in reality. That said, there could be some unmistakable, external signs, which will help, based upon which we can infer or deduce that such a person is, as a matter of fact, a suitable recipient of this discourse. And so on page 103, unnumbered 103, we have a stanza quoted from great Indian master Chandrakirti's Madhyamik Avatar, or supplement to the Middle Way. And I quote, "Just as from seeing smoke, you know there is fire, and from seeing waterfowl, you know there is lake. So from observing his characteristics, his or her characteristics, you will know the lineage of one having the mind of a bodhisattva," unquote. So the examples given here is that, if we see real smoke, right, in a distance, then we can infer, based upon that perception sign, that probably there is a fire there, over that hill. Or that if we are searching for water, if we see the water birds or the waterfowl hovering in the sky, then we can maybe infer that maybe there is a water body, somewhere near location. So in the same way, looking at the external composure and characteristics of someone, we may be able to detect, infer that this person is, ready for discourse on ultimate bodhicitta. So as Geshe explained, so what are some of the external signs that are explained in the text? Again, in the supplement to the Middle Way by Chandrakirti, I quote, "When an ordinary being, on hearing about emptiness, feels great joy arising repeatedly within him or her, and due to such joy tears moisten their eyes, and the hair on their body stands up, they have mind the state of complete enlightenment, and is fit vessel for intimate teachings of emptiness," unquote. So basically, as Geshe explained, that when someone is listening to discourse on ultimate mind of enlightenment, and if we genuinely observe unmistakably, this person is displaying, some external signs that the person is really so happy, joyful to listen to the teaching, on the ultimate bodhicitta. And the person, couldn't control, the tears well up, the tears of joy well up in the eyes, and the hair on the body stand on the end, and the person seems so absorbed and dedicated. So these are the signs that this person is a receptacle vessel for a discourse on awakened mind. So these are the things talked about by Chandrakirti in his supplement to the Middle Way, as well as in the Pramana or the valid cognition treatises. We are on page 104. If emptiness or this discourse on ultimate bodhicitta is given to unsuitable recipients, they may be completely, it might frighten them, and it might repel them away, and they may lose faith. They won't believe in what it's all about. So if anybody exhibits those kind of reactions, so maybe at the moment this is not the right time to teach emptiness or ultimate bodhicitta, because it's of no benefit to them. But if this continues kind of forever, then it's very unfortunate. Such individuals are deprived of the essence of Buddha's teaching. Emptiness is called the essence of Buddha's teaching because without realizing what it is, the ultimate reality, we can neither realize liberation from samsara nor enlightenment. So we are kind of going to lose the whole core of Buddha's teaching. So the issue is that people who are more likely to be, trapped by the two extremes. If you talk about, let's say, things are existent, and then they feel like, wow, now the things are intrinsically existent or truly existent, right? And so which means they are grasping at the eternalism, right? The positivity of phenomena there. Positivity not in the sense of positive action, okay? Positivity, just we're talking the social science. Positive paradigm. On the other hand, when we talk about how all phenomena are empty of intrinsic reality or true existence, and then some people say, oh, that means nothing exists at all. So then they kind of fall into the extreme of nihilism, cheta, extreme of eternalism, takta. So people who get trapped into these two extremes, cheta and takta, eternalism and nihilism, they get trapped, isn't it? So they are maybe not ready, more likely for this kind of a discourse. On the other hand, people who are more kind of oriented towards understanding emptiness of intrinsic reality, what this idea, the concept is all about, so that will be very liberating for them, because that will help them to counteract their graspings and find a way to liberation and enlightenment.
In the Chiramos and the Jashimal, Dedrikim, Dedramajana, Tony to Jedu was what in the Samaton in the Chirusuyashe, in the Jiva Madana, Yashima, the Uber Division, don't you go in the Divine Letter of Maship, me Yoko Jogas or the direct series, don't you go to do Marashi was? What did the Samatan in it? Karsa, Jimata, Sonia, that Paji Gaga to Jane. Anything she about Shauju seem to Mazino Sanji, you do Marsan. Or this Shan anyway, don't you Torotoba, take it Karsa, Shile Ten, any Jesi, Java Gagalpal, Jukto, Ranching Real Gores. Said that Tilly said that the new the new Tonshi, Kevashago, or the lady, New Minishena, nearby you. The
reason why there is a distinction being made between who is right individuals to be taught about ultimate bodhicitta and who are not receptacle is because if you teach emptiness and ultimate bodhicitta to those who are unsuitable, right, quote unquote, in the given situation, instead of proving it to be useful and beneficial, it involves a lot of risk and dangers, isn't it? They may completely be repelled by the teaching, they will completely lost faith in the Dharma, and they just couldn't grasp the idea, and they think this is just whatever, so it's no use, On the other hand, if the individuals are receptacle for the teaching, then it will be of great benefit, And those who are receptive to this, as we talked about, those certain external display of the signs must be visible, the joyful tears, welled up in the eyes and all of that. And also, they are more likely to understand what emptiness is. And by the power of that understanding, that really induces in them to engage in the practices of other perfections. For example, someone who really understands what emptiness and that all things are empty of intrinsic reality, he or she may feel that, that means that I really need to observe my ethics or morality very purely. Okay? Otherwise, without observing pure ethics, I won't have a good rebirth in my next life, which means I will lose the chance to continue my study and practice of meditation on emptiness. I cannot do that. So therefore, I must keep my vows intact. And then somebody thinks that, but that I must practice generosity because generosity leads to resources. And so that in all my other lifetimes, I will have enough resources to be able to dedicate myself into the study and practice of Dharma and emptiness. And if I don't practice generosity, I could be reborn as very poor, then my whole life has to be like serve someone or be in such situation that I can't again, have opportunity to study and practice Dharma and emptiness. So like that, all other practices are inspired by one's understanding of emptiness, and this is how understanding of emptiness could facilitate the practice of 6 paramitas or the 6 perfections. And the same thing as Geshe said, that someone who understands emptiness sees that, I need to integrate this understanding with great compassion and altruism, bodhicitta, without which I can never attain enlightenment. So this is how everything is, integrated into that understanding of, emptiness properly. And we will stop there today, and I'll look at the questions, and also we have a prayer request too. I have 2 questions here. When I go through this, I try to pull down as much as I can. Sometimes people said they ask questions, I didn't see it. Well, if iPad doesn't show it, I have no way to access your questions. So you might have to ask them again another time. Number 1, Please clarify again the distinctions between mindfulness, introspection, conscientiousness, investigation, concentration, calm abiding. Oh my Lord, that's too many concepts. But I will ask. Again, these reshata, then the Mangush with one, down that temba your wagon, tense. Temba the shashin, wagon, paguyche, wagon. Then asa dirwa, tokpache, some danger. Shine again that the keba career, so that the Koran's the Tonda wagon, keba. Okay, temba, shashin, payu, tokpa, something, shine. Santa kan jadi dia baca tu main selalu lagi.
That kau sim nampak macam ni aku macam tu. So tok pas saya kita kan diri macam kita kan tu dapat hidup cendera itu tok pas sih rumah. So tok pas jaga cipu macam tok pas yang ni nazo sih rumah. Ada diri kan tu sih kan sini.
Tak macam kan kau tok je ni tok pas sebab ni.
Tok je tok pas tu sih macam. Tok pas saya tu sim rasa sih. Cipu saya hidup pas hidup tu sebuah tongkol sebuah. 다 배들 remote charter 좀 통해서는 때 똑배서 좋아. 다 너무 이제 그 remote 뭐보다 세워 갈 때도 심중시야 통해야 될 거래. 주변에서 좋아. 그래서 주변에 유 시험 주고 그랬어. 똑바데 유 증언 주고 그랬어. 당고대 쉬셔가지고 와게 레르지 나들. So first we want to make a distinction between investigation and analysis. Okay? The Tibetan word is tokpa, and for investigation and analysis is for choba. The difference is that investigation, or the Tibetan word tokpa, is defined in terms of coarse investigation, examination. And analysis is a fine, more detailed, specific-oriented kind of investigation. The example Geshe has given is that if you're looking at a painting, right, you get overall sense of the painting. Like say, maybe if you allow me to use the mandala there, right? We see the whole mandala structure, right? Beautiful. And and we can do the course level investigation. Oh, the mandala is like that shape, structure. You know, it has these different elements. So that's kind of a holistic sort of thing. Now the Chöpa analysis that you look into each different sections, you know. Well, here is this particular part of the mandala, it means something else. So you go into more specific, detail-oriented. So that's the difference between Tokpa and Chöpa, kind of a coarse investigation and fine analysis. Okay. That can tempa the sheshin payu. Tempa the sheshin payu. Kauje sozu pige kar kawa dudi na chik done ba dugu yu samse jawa da chik dene dege sam dene samota me pige Some days of time never do it. Tom Davis or Shire. No. This is Pagmesi or Pagmesi. So subscription is part of Jonah and 2 years of Joe. In the Busse or some of the world. And the Karchina was the Chehit and they think it does not. And the Pagmesi. Did that time, man? It's Pagmesi.
Taking a deep game covers almost a chamber down pioneer 2 minutes. Okay, that she should chamber the pioneer the Yachi to
the chamber that chamber to call chamber. 단다 수 누자시도 나네 누자시면 희생하고 희야하고 다들 시기 먼저선 제배장한테 잡아서기로 와. 좋아. 보여서 지도 거라고 다 그때 섬에서를 세드는 리고 세천자지요. 그 지도 그 탕고시 저 다 지도 너 남야도 자그 배운 줄로 와. 어디서 지고.
Geshe said that so many concepts have been asked, the distinction. Of course, he understands the challenge why, you know, you may be finding to distinguish is because, you know, unless we study the whole science of mind in the Buddhism, right, we call it Lojong, you know, so these distinctions are, you know, not necessarily easy for anybody to make. So the mindfulness, introspection, and consciousness. The consciousness, you know, could probably, in English, we can translate as awareness. Right, if we live in Tibetan, we call Pagye, conscientious life, means that I'm aware of my thoughts, what I'm doing, what I'm not doing, doing right thing, doing wrong thing, right? Or we can live like a life without being, you know, aware of what we're doing. Just kind of like go as we don't know what I'm thinking, what I'm eating, what I'm doing, nothing, right? That is the lack of conscientiousness. So being aware of, one's thought and action is parye, awareness, and mindfulness is to remember. That's in Tibetan. We look at ourselves with the help of introspection, sheshin. We check out, what is and what is not. Is my mind sitting on the focus meditation or not, or is it distracted? So if it's distracted, you bring it back, put it on the object or the focus, and then you remember it. Okay, I want my mind to stay on it. You try to remember that, right? So that's called mindfulness in the Tibetan. Thing is in the shine. Thing is in the shine. Something the shine konda. Something the shine.
Something the shine is na ta rangpa jam shine. Pisi mengsi ba shine digi jire.
No, so. Concentration and calm abiding, sometimes, there's overlap here, so people might regard as the one and the same thing, but other times concentration, there are different levels of concentration before you reach calm abiding or shamatha. Okay? So I hope those things make some distinctions there. The next question is, in the Geshe Chekawa's quote, humiliating criticism and suffering in pursuit of his aspirations, would Geshe please explain further what Geshe Chekawa means by humiliation, criticism, suffering here? Thank you. Dagi Geshe kadamba Geshe Chekawa songju yawage. Chene dagi dagi pyi tagda dumar dagi. Dadi Geshe Chekawa song nalia kala ge daji ngajo indi mar ge jigden begi da kala na da mangba chide kala susong wa cha go da dunghe mangbo yin jig do ge six do da ge. Geshe Chekawa chig ran de ge ha ko mas. Oh, they what? 어디 동해 땀내 캐스 동해 땀에 어디 가르치고 그래서게 땀에 봐게 계시 제가 그 동해 땀내 캐스에서 디 레시션으로 나서 동해 땀내 캐스
가르쳐 게서 디가도
랑게 메고 마외 규 랑게 메고 마외 규
이네
동해 땀에 캐스네 단진 두베 당마시 타니시야 메교도스야
어다 그 팅가만 이들이시게 랑기 메바 마베 규로 봐 동해 땀내 캐스에서 봐 어디 갈라 그래서
그래서 다 정수섬게 에네 나게 잠제 담바시데 동해다 땀에 가가 캐스에 빼 저와 님보 셰베 이시
노소
저와 님보 셰도 더다 송송세
노소
더다 셰다 땅아 에네 신은 제바 메시보다
알아다 미그 카탄 가르치네서 거러와게 게임인데 소노스
kalé mabu jaza ro
no so
kalé mabu jane jibu mena jibu ba kalé mabu jeba ko chhe sha sha te ta de
no so what Geshe Chekawa meant by that is by humiliating criticism, suffering, is that Geshe Chekawa said that once I have decided to follow the Lojong practice, mind training practice, equalizing and exchanging self with others, then I have been able to withstand or bear any criticism that others have of me, and I have been able to face any suffering and difficulties, right, by the power of this Lojong practice. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about the benefits of this Lojong practice, where, that he's able to withstand other people's bad-mouthing him or criticizing him or bringing troubles to him. He's able to do that. That's the meaning of his statement.